Hey, small groups and small group leaders, Micah Oder here. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm glad you're watching this. Hey, I just wanted to give you one final one-off as we kind of close out our 2019 small groups calendar. Now, of course, you are free to meet and as often as you like, and you can study whatever you want, but we will not be producing, after this, we will not be producing any more church-wide curriculum until early 2020. And in fact, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think it's great to end our year with just a little bit of time of reflection of what's come before us, what's in the past, and then what's in our future. I think that periodic times of reflection on the group are really good and healthy, and so I hope that you have this conversation before the end of the year, or at least maybe the beginning of 2020, but before the end of the year would be great. And so we'll talk a little bit about what's been in the past. We're also going to talk a little bit about what's in the future. So most of the stuff that's going to be in the discussion guide that comes with this is just going to be about the past. But there is also going to be some stuff about the future, and I want to tell you what's coming in 2020. I want you guys to hear first. I'm really excited about this. We're doing something we haven't done quite like this in quite a while. We're doing a campaign, but not the kind of campaign that you're probably thinking of. When I say campaign, you're like, oh, you're trying to raise money? No, we're not. This is not that. We are doing a campaign to raise hope. And so there's no money component at all. So if you're trying to figure out if something's code for money, no, it's not that. There's no money. We're doing something called the Hope Campaign, and our goal is to raise hope in our church and in our community. And so we're going to be spending 6 weeks diving in deep on what it looks like to be hopeful people that are full of hope. And what's it look like to be people of hope? We're going to read words of hope, songs of hope. There's a lot of hope going on. You know, we say that we as a church, our goal is to help people find hope in Jesus and a home in his local church. And I think that we as a church are pretty good. It's part of our kind of church identity that we help people. I feel like that part is really solid. And I think a lot of us have an idea of what it is like to come home in the church. And we've had series on that. We've talked about that. But we've not really, in the time that I've been here, I'm coming up on 6 years, we've not really spent a ton of time talking about hope specifically. And so that's what we're going to do. And I'm really excited about it because we're going to do some fun things. There is going to be an all-church campaign that's going to kick off the first Sunday of February, and it's going to run for 6 weeks. So it's going to run beginning of February, or if you're a Thursday night person, I think it's January 30th. It's going to run beginning of February through mid-March, and it's going to be every week. And it's going to be big. We're going to do it the biggest we know how to do it. It's going to be focused. We're going to be doing several things for it. So here's some of the stuff we're going to do. First of all, we are going to be pushing personal spiritual practices because our real hope, or one of our real hopes, is to help people grow spiritually during this campaign. So we're going to be pushing personal spiritual practices such as a daily devotional, which we are writing. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. There's still some ways that you can help out on that if you're a writer. A daily devotional, we're going to push really hard on groups during this time and help people get connected to groups and make friends and build relationships that can help them to have hope. We're going to have a massive blow the walls out worship event about 2/3 of the way through the series, and it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. There is going to be small group material, as I said, that's going to be different from what we're hearing on the weekends, so it'll be complementary, but it's not the same. It's going to be as much work as I've put into any small group curriculum in a couple years. Has been as much work as we've done on a curriculum in quite a while, and I think it's going to be really good. So here are ways that your group or you as an individual could help and participate in this. So the very first thing is that we really want to get a bunch of people into new groups for the Hope Campaign. And so you think, well, I'm already in a group, so I'm covered. Yes, you are 100% correct. You are covered if you're in a group. But I would like for you to consider a couple things. First of all, my impression of most of the groups at Whitewater is that in all the best ways, I think that our leaders, I think small group leaders are incredibly important, but I think that in most of the groups that I talk to, there are multiple people in the group who would make great small group leaders. And so a lot of our groups, I would feel comfortable with any given person in the group saying, oh yeah, I'm the leader of the group, which on the one hand is awesome and it makes for a great group. That's a great long-term strategy if leadership is shared. But I would like for you to consider whether your group is ready to do one of three things. First of all, is your group just ready to open up? So I would love for people to get plugged into existing groups. All right, so is it possible, if your group's been closed for a while, is it possible for you to open up and be open to new people? It could be total strangers, but it could also be that you just say, hey, for this current series, for the Hope Campaign, all of us are going to invite somebody to our group. Now that means it's going to be a little bit over full, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I get that. We might have to talk about some ways that you can make that thing work, even if the group felt a little bit overpacked. But I think this is a good time to be inviting to our church in general, but to your group in particular. Second thing, and this is uncomfortable, I would like for your group to consider whether you could start new groups. Now, hold on for a minute, because those of you that have known me for a while said I don't ever like breaking up a group that's working well. My parents were in the same small group from when I was 5 until when I was 18. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I mean, I think that was a fantastic experience. But I also know that groups go through seasons, sometimes where it's like, hey, we're really close, we're doing well, and then sometimes a season passes, and it's like, I don't know if the magic is still there, right? A lot of times it just has to do with we're in a different place in life, our schedules are different, people that used to be here have moved or can't do this or whatever. And so I'd like for you to consider whether your group could start new groups. Now, here's what that could look like. That could mean that everybody in your group goes and starts their own brand new group and your existing group doesn't meet anymore. Or that could mean that for the 6 weeks, doesn't have to be forever, for the 6 weeks, you say, you know what, we're going to go on pause. We're not going to meet necessarily every week during the 6 weeks. Maybe we meet a few times. But what we're going to do is we're going to start 2 or 3 new groups out of our one group, and we're going to start kind of different strawberry plants of groups. And if you've never heard me talk about strawberries and slime molds, then we'll pause that for now. Or you might say, hey, we're going to continue to meet. We've got bandwidth for it, so we're going to keep meeting on Tuesday night at my house. But I actually also am thinking about starting a Hope Campaign group. I'm going to start a Hope group in my workplace. And I've got some friends, and the curriculum is going to be something that you would not be embarrassed to show your friends. Especially people even that have never been to church or never been in a group. You think, man, I've got this thing at my workplace. I've got several guys. We're doing a thing. Or, man, my family. I've got my sister-in-law, my sister-in-law and my brother or whatever relations I have, cousins. I've been meaning to invite them to something for a while. And I don't know if they would ever come to our church, but I definitely could invite them to a group, especially one that's for a short time and it's just going to be good. You might consider whether you and your group could participate in what we're going to call table groups here on campus, where we're actually going to have on Sundays and probably Thursday nights. We're toying with Wednesday versus Thursday. Sundays and Thursdays, having some groups that meet on campus, and you say, you know what, for this period of time, my group could help serve by participating and making the table groups that are on campus work really well. There are any other number of things that you guys could do, but those are the ones that I'm really thinking of right now. The second thing that your group could do to really help make this work is this is going to be work, and I'm a little bit terrified of it. But when we do capital campaigns, usually what we do is we put together some call teams, and we try to call everybody in the church, and this includes people that were like, I'm not sure if they've attended in the last couple months or not, but they're still on the list, so we're going to give them a call. And so what we do is we put together call teams, and we say all of us are going to call these 5 people and just say, hey, when we do a capital campaign, we're like inviting you to a town hall or whatever, but this isn't a capital campaign, there's no money. All we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, I'm inviting you to church and to our existing group, or to one of our upcoming group link events. We're doing 2 big group connection events, and it's going to be really, really cool. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that every adult in the church gets invited to one of these events. And so what we're going to do in the month of January is that we're going to try and make sure that those calls go out, and what your group could do is say, hey, our group would be willing to be a call team for the Hope Campaign, and that would mean that all of us would probably make 5 calls. I think if I can get enough people to sign up, I think that that's about what we need, is everybody makes about 5, no more than 10 phone calls. And so I know calling people feels very passive aggressive in 2019 or even 2020. It's like, don't you text them first? Whatever you want to do. If they're over 40, they want to call. If under 40, it's like, why is my phone ringing? It's weird. But I'm going to be 40 next year. It's coming fast. All right, so the last thing that you could do, and that I mentioned this a little bit earlier, I still need a few writers. And if you're a writer, we're putting out a 40-day devotional that will allow everybody, we're going to try and get everybody in the church to help set up some good spiritual habits, and it's going to be good. So we're reflecting on a verse of Scripture that that tells us how to have hope, and there will be writing prompts for that, or there are writing prompts for that. And so if you're somebody who says, I think I might be willing to give that a try, I think I could write a couple paragraphs kind of reflecting on hope and then setting people up to do a little bit of thinking on their own, then that would be amazing. So I'm still looking for a few more writers. So those are the 3 things. Could you or your group start some new groups or make some opportunities in your existing group to invite people in? Could you or your group participate as a part of the call team? Or could you or your group participate by helping even create some of the content that we're going to use for the Hope campaign? So if you have questions about this, I don't know that I necessarily want to field 100 questions, but feel free to have your leader reach out to me or their coach and say, hey, what's the deal with whatever it is? So again, the small group curriculum is going to start on the first week of February. So I think I want to say February 2nd, maybe February 1st, but it's the first Sunday in February, and so it'll go for 6 weeks. You say, well, does our group have to wait until then to start? Because a lot of our groups want to get back from New Year and start. I will have some stuff for existing groups, but we're not going to try and launch new groups until February. Now, I know probably what you're thinking is, you said, Micah, you just pitched in the last series, you just pitched this idea of us moving to something where it's like twice a month we do study, once a month we do group community building playtime, and once a month we serve somewhere. You're 100% right, and I love that you're thinking that way, and several groups have told me you're going to experiment with that in this spring and just see how it goes. I love that. Keep it up. But in this particular 6-week run, it's like, hey, we're going to do one good run where we're just all in on this thing together. And then we're going to kind of go to our the new normal of getting a little more time to play together and serve together and stuff like that. So that's what we're trying to do. The lights just went out. That means I've been silent and I've been in this room too long without moving. So I'm going to call that a day. I will look forward to talking with you soon. And I can't wait to see what 2020 is going to bring for our church. Thanks, guys. Bye.